Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today we have the final patch notes for TFT Lore and Legends. What did you all think about the set? No matter what it is coming to an end. We're buffing up everything, nerfing just Malzahar, adjusting Aesol and Zehen, and then the returning 2 trait augments, which is Bandle Bounty and Walk the True Path. So we're going to cover all the changes in this patch for that one last final rank push. We will be updating the meta snapshot on Friday and also be introducing the PBE comps for the new set sometime this week as well. But let's get right on into the changes. At the very end, I'll give my unfiltered thoughts about this particular set and what I think about the next one. So stay tuned for that, but let's get right into the system changes. So unlocks, they're doing a couple of different changes. Aesol's going to be a little easier to get. 4 Targans and level 7, that's really easy to do. You don't have to unlock anything anymore. Like, you don't have to unlock Diana. Who is it? Aphelios, Leona, Zoe, Tarek. Those are 4, right? I mean, you can unlock Diana if you want, if you don't want to find Tarek. So there's pretty much a guaranteed way to get Aesol. Probably going to be some good Aesol builds out there. Aesol was good for a little bit, maybe like 1.5 patches in this set. I wish he was played a little more. Like, there are a lot of cool units in this set, and a lot of them just went unplayed because there are 100 champions in the set. A little unfortunate, but Aesol, I think, was one of them. I think he's really cool. So definitely play him now because it is your last chance to do so. Zehen, field a 3-star Xin Zhao for 5 combats with Trials of Twilight is being changed to just the Xin Zhao and level 8. That's a pretty big buff. You don't have to wait 5 combats anymore. Holy cow, you just need a power level up. That probably takes like maybe 3 turns to do after you 3-star Xin. Maybe 4, depending on what your econ is, obviously. But it also changes your game plan, so you could just play around it. You're leveling up anyways, right? But let's get on into the large changes. Making Darken hit harder and heal a bit less. Okay, let's see what they're doing. 600 to 525, Darken 3. I've never actually gotten to Darken 3. No, that's a lie. I think I did it once. I've gone to Darken 2 a bunch, though. But the way I got to the deep Darkens, I think I got like 2 different Darken items from Ornn. And then I think I had Aatrox or something like that. I didn't do it the cool way. That's all I remember. The cool way being Aatrox plus Zehen. But they're reducing the health threshold and then buffing up the damage a little bit. By the way, fun fact, there is a way to get Darken 3 without Zehen or Aatrox. You just need 3 of the items. But you can check out that in the Explorer tool if you want to find some goofy games. You could look at recent matches and look into exactly how they got there. But I'm guessing it's just 3 different Darken items. But next up we have our Gunslingers. AD gain going to be buffed up at 4 Gunslingers. I have not seen 4 Gunslingers played once. No, that's a lie. There was one T-Hex meta where I think we were doing it a while back ago. Wow, that was a long time ago. But I always thought it was weird that Jhin was a gunslinger. I always think of him as a sniper, and sniper was also in this set. But next up, we have our Yordle's 3-star multiplier going to be jumped up from 100 to 120. Next up we have is units tier 1, Anivia ability damage going to be buffed up a little bit. Blitzcrank health, that 17 health is really going to help him, I think. Did they talk about it? What the heck are these Blitzcrank and Shen buffs? Okay, I guess I'm thinking the same thing. Is there some inside joke? Shen also went to 717 also. Is there an explanation for this? Is that someone's telephone number area code or something like that? But Jhin is now a long shot. Wait, what? Okay, so they listened to me. Jhin AD ability damage is going to be bumped up a little bit across the board. Jhin really wants to be a reroll carry, so they're saying, please, 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 we need Jhin reroll. They gave him a bunch of different traits. I think they buffed him in previous patches also, and then now they're also buffing up his damage a bit, and they're buffing up Shen. Okay, the Shen buff's kind of fake though, right? But Lulu getting mana buff as well. Whoa, really low on the mana, and unfortunately, the ability stun duration is going to be reduced, so Lulu going to be more of a damage dealer than utility. And then Sona, we have a little bit of an AP bump there. Next up, we have our tier 2 units. So we got Bard, stage 3 rerolls on Lost being bumped up from 1 to 2, so Bard is going to stabilize even harder now with rerolls. Cho'Gath gains a bunch of permanent health per cast, and then Graves, partner in crime, attack speed 2 to 4%. Rek'Sai primary ability damage going to be bumped up at 3-star. Haven't seen too many 3-star Rek'Sais, but I'm sure it could be possible. I doubt it, and there are probably a lot more cooler things to go for in this patch. So far, I'm thinking Aesol, I'm thinking the Jhin. We'll have to see about some other ones after that, but Twisted Fate, Partners in Crime, going to be bumped up 2% for AP, and then units tier 3, Gwen has a new passive, gains 15% Omnivamp. That's a pretty big buff. Isn't that crazy? Was Gwen needing that buff that badly? I mean, like, no one ever built a comp around Gwen, don't get me wrong, but she's also like an awkward 3-cost unit that you have to play around. But let's take a look at Gwen a little bit here. 4.3 at 3-star 3 items, 4.24. Like, yeah, you probably want some actual real carries to use instead of her. But But she was just kind of in an awkward spot with the Shadow Owls, you know? Like, yeah, you have to build the healing item, but maybe there's like this super big damage build that she could try out now. Malzahar, base HP can be dropped by one. Why are they doing all this? Malzahar has been the most overperforming champ in the set in the world in the entire galaxy. He far outperforms champions not in the set, most house cats, and my emotional support rock named Chip. It's about 9 too many patches without his nerfs, so we're going extra hard here while most of us on the team believes this nerf will make him unplayable. Only one of us actually cares. See ya, Malzahar. All right. I thought this would be in the small changes, but I guess they put it in the big one here. Milio, primary ability damage, going to be bumped up a little bit across the board. Tier 4 units. Singe is all about being experimental. You know what's a real tragedy? It's the fact that, like, big Zon comps were never really, like, that dominant ever. You know, like, all the different comps had their time to shine, like, really hard. Like, Ionia had their time. Void had their time. Like, you go down the list, right? But I feel like Zon never reached that, like, upper crust, you know? But let's see what they're changing here. Diana, primary ability damage going to be bumped up a little bit at the start. Everyone remember the first patch? It was like the Diana lose streak thing. That was so fun. I kind of miss it, you know? It was kind of cringe, but I kind of miss it. Ability damage for Singe going to be bumped up like quite a bit at 1 and 2 star. And then armor and MR are going to be bumped up at 1 star. And then Skarner passive going to be getting more armor. Is that what AR is? Okay, so that's going from 10 to 15 and then 20 to 30. Tarek passive MR going to be bumped up in the same way. Speaking of experiments, we're almost doubling down on the passive armor and MR bonus to make them an even better counter tech for heavy AP and AD lobbies. You know, I predicted this at the start of last set that people would be using these very selectively, specifically in the late game to counter things, but I don't think that ever actually happened. People just played them because they're good, and then like I guess you take them out for like 2-star Fiddlesticks, 2-star Shyvana or something like that, but I don't think people were actually going that hard with the armor AD counterplay that I thought it would kind of work out to. Because like you just play Tarek because he's good, right? You know, it's not because specifically he has the MR. Like obviously it's a bonus against AP teams, but unless you find like a 2-star legendary, like are you really dropping a 2-star forecast? Ornn is now a Freljord unit. Wow, okay, that's a pretty big change. Freljord is probably my favorite comp, or favorite vertical trait, just because I like all the units. Lyssandra's one of my favorite units. I think Braum's pretty cool too. Volibear's okay. And then there's also Sejuani. I really like Sejuani a lot. But now Ornn is also a Freljord unit, so that trait obviously becomes a lot better now. You get Ornn and Braum. They're both Warden and Freljord trait twins. That's going to be an insane combo. Holy cow, you just print infinite items. Mel Mana to unlock Radiant items 235 to 215. Zillion Chrono Keeper 1 to 2 XP. Holy cow, that's a big change there. You just get double the XP. That's crazy stuff. Do they talk about it here? Not really. I don't see Zillion mentioned there, but that's absolutely nuts. Aesol ability damage going to be dropped down a bit because he is easier to get. Zahen going to be nerfed probably for the same reason as Aurelion Soul. And then next up we have are the augments. So Ban Bounty 1 re-enabled, Walk the True Path re-enabled, Files of Twilight disabled. So these two are ways to get to the prismatic traits of, Yordle and Ionia. So that should be pretty fun to kind of try out. Bug fixes, hybrid tank, and hybrid fighter roles now properly count as frontline for adaptive helm and radiant adaptive. And then Indomitable's pull is now properly flagged as a knockup and will no longer pull CC immune enemies. So that's going to be the changes there. Quite a few changes, to be honest, but they always do that in the last patch, a lot of wacky changes. But what am I most looking forward to? It's going to be probably the Freljords. Like, I love Freljord. Ornn as a Freljord. Again, I talked about the Ornn plus Braum combo. Unfortunately, I don't think Diana's a thing. It was pretty cringe, but I kind of wanted to do it one more time, you know? What was it, the first or second patch that she was really dominant in? And then the very last thing I want to try out, probably going to be the Aesol. With this changes, hopefully he's going to be good. You know, he was kind of in like an awkward spot for a lot of the set, which is going to make sense, right? Because he is kind of like an awkward unit. He's not supposed to be something that you like force every single game, obviously, but what are my thoughts on this whole set? So honestly, at the start, I had really high hopes for this. I thought it was like one of the coolest sets. I'm not just saying that, but like having 100 champions is pretty wacky. I wish they just did every champion. I think they're like 130. I was thinking if you go from like 60 champs to 100 champs, you might as well just go all the way. But it's a lot of champs, so it would have been even wackier, I guess. But I feel like the set just kind of ended up being kind of stale though, you know? Which sucks because I had very high expectations. Sometimes if I don't have high expectations and the set's okay, I'm like decently happy still. But I was kind of disappointed by this. I had like really, really, really high hopes for this set. But the way the unlocks worked, I thought they were cool at the start, but then it got kind of tedious. But then it also prevented adapting comps a lot. You just had to force a lot of times from the beginning of the game. I know they tried to fix that a little bit, but I had a lot more fun playing a bunch of the other previous sets. But on paper, like before the set happened, like I thought it was going to be pretty good. The one thing I will say that was good about this set, I think the legendaries were pretty cool. A lot of the ones that they are doing similar versions of in the next set, so I'm pretty excited about that. I like the reintroduction of threat units, such as Targans. I think that was pretty nice. And I also like that Ixtal was much different from some of the other lose streak, fortune, payout type traits. So that was the kind of cool things about this set. But next set, hopefully it's going to be a good one. If you did not watch my previous video yet, that covers everything you need to know about the new set. I do recommend watching it, but pretty much the short of it is that the set mechanic is going to be a new take on carousels. So that should be interesting. I think carousels were a bit of a waste of time because you just have 8 players sitting around doing nothing, waiting for their turn. And don't get me wrong, I'm a patient guy, but if carousel becomes faster because of the new mechanic and saves like 10 seconds per person every single TFT game, imagine how much like more time of humanity that we gain just from that one change, you know? Because there are like millions and millions of TFT games played every so often, right? So that should be pretty cool. Jhin is also back. Jhin looks really cool in the new set, and I love Jhin. I mean, you saw me talking about Jhin reroll in this set, but Jhin in the next one, probably going to be even crazier, right, as a 5 cost. But stay tuned. We will be coming out with the meta snapshot for the live patch and also for PvE, bunnymuffins.lol/meta or bunnymuffins.lol/PvE. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But that's going to be it for me today. Let me know your thoughts about this set, next set, last set, 10 sets ago. I don't know. Down in the comments below, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video.